Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to WhatMap, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. I'm BonBonB and you're very, very welcome. Well, today, two maps. We're going to start with a map which is striking. Creator we've done 5 times in the past, averaging 12 stars per map, which is held back by their 11 stars last time round, but pumped up by the 13 stars the time before. I might shout out some episode numbers when we get to the flyover. We're following that one up with what would be the quirky map, but it was the quirky thumbnail. The map is okay. The map isn't quirky at all, but the thumbnail is what grabbed me and said this might be a little bit weird. So I'm sure you'll notice the quirky thumbnail when we get to it, but the map is pretty standard, but pretty playable and should be fun. One thing that's definitely fun though is doing this. That's right, have all the fun you like over the next 3, 2, 1 seconds. Thanks for supporting the channel. Today's map, first map. It's none of my first map, it's the first map. It's A Bridge Too Far by stevensdomi. Look at that from above. Look at that from above. Very nice. There's your start square. Pretty interesting, would you say? Yeah, okay, we'll go with interesting rather than exhilarating. Terrain heights, it's an interesting map to build on. It looks like it might be challenging, but it's not, and it's interesting. The resources are, well, look, if that isn't enough resources for you, I don't know what you want from a map. And if you've got Sunset Harbour and you want to do some fishing, you actually have all of the fishes as well, so it has all of everything. All of everything, including all of a workshop page. Well, you'd expect that, wouldn't you? Anyway, it's a mass transit map. You will need mass transit for this one. Amongst other things, we have procedural objects in operation today. A nicely written description that tells you it's not actually a snowfall map. It's not even a snow map. It's all done with resource painting. Anyway, here's your one-click collection. There's a very reasonable list here. A few things you can actually skip over, like these British Army soldiers, that sort of thing. If you don't really want them, it's not going to break your map. We are, of course, going to be having a look at them because that's the sort of flyovers that we do. But a reasonable chunk of the non-foliage props you can probably get away with. Also, like I say, procedural objects is in operation today, so there is always that as well. So if you're using the loading screen mod, make sure that you're allowing for all items to be loaded in. However, when I loaded up the map, I had a few missing. Here's the chemical danger sign, military base sign, not sure what that is, and then military bunker type A, concrete wire fence, and another one, short version, and the gate, concrete wire gate. Those were the things that didn't load in for me, even though I was fully subscribed to everything and I used the loading screen mod. Second time of loading, I forgot the procedural objects, so I had to reload the map, and there you go. Those were the things that didn't load in on the second time with everything. Oh, hang on, BonBonBingo players, we have sirens. There we go. Oh, that's an Equilop car, that one. Anyway, where were we? We're doing the flyover on what is a very nice, fantastical map. I say fantastical, but there's definitely something South American about it. Now, we are using the Patagonia theme, which would give you that South American vibe. South American vibe. You'd think I was reading this, wouldn't you? And I can't even say vibe. Hell spells. And we're also using the Brigata, or Brighter if you prefer, LUT, which is one that we've never used before, and it's pretty nice. The combination works very neatly together as well. So we've done Domi 5 times, or stevensdomi, sorry, getting a bit comfortable on first name terms, are we? Yeah, or second name terms. Anyway, we're doing stevensdomi for the 5th time, episodes 800, 939, 1064, 1289 and 1317 are the previous reviews. If you like their work and you want to see some more flyovers of their work, and why would you not? Because there we go. So our first intersection marking tool in operation here. Now if you have a look here, there's no way of turning left there. Okay, the cars are going to turn left anyway. No way of turning left through the, and if you have a look over here, intersection marking tool over here, there's no way of turning left there as well. So maybe this intersection is supposed to be set up with Traffic Manager to have no left turns. Maybe. I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, I'm pretty sure that stevensdomi would like us to take a left here. A right here, sorry. Right, left and right. Oh, I'm really struggling. Left and right. I can't say V-Bay. I can't tell my left from my right. So because he would like us to take a right, we're going to take a left. Because actually there's some stuff down there I want to show up. One stuff down there I want to show you, which is some switchbacks through the mountains, and they're very nicely done. They're very nice, and if we don't go this way now, it's not really something I'll probably jump back to later, because there's lots of little detailing areas that when we do the jumping around in a couple of minutes, I would have to forego one of them. Hang on, intersection marking tool here, look, we have markings to allow. Well, for straight on, there's not actually, I'm not sure. I don't know if I'm a big fan of the intersection markings. There is there, and there is there. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. If you haven't got an intersection marking tool, then it doesn't make any difference anyway, because it's not going to break your map. You just will load up with the vanilla markings, and it's fine. But yeah, I don't know if I'm really excited by the intersection markings I've seen so far. They've caught me attention. There you go. They've given me something to talk about, so thank you for that. Anyway, here's your switchbacks going up into the snowy parts of the map. It snakes its way down through. Let's just check the intersection markings there as well. Yeah, I mean, this one has. This one has. Anyway, it snakes its way down through this ravine, and it's very aesthetically pleasing in the way it does it. We've even got a little bit of the what we're talking about, the keys. Not sure if they're the vanilla keys, but we have some sort of road supports along the side there, and it just looks, it's very nicely done. Can we just say that? Can we just appreciate some very nicely done switchbacks? I think we should. Okay, I think we should do that. Given that there's a few procedural objects props missing, and we're going to have to dock some points at the end for that, let's build it up with something that we know is definitely good. I think we do that. Thank you for backing me up on this judgment call. Anyway, as you've seen so far, despite the map being quite vertical and quite dramatic, everywhere we've been so far, there's been plenty of spaces to build. I think we have to say that. There's plenty of room to get. Oh, hang on, we've got some foliage under the road here. stevensdomi, what have I told you about trees under roads? You've seen enough shows so far. Anyway, here's your start square. Again, it's interesting, if not exhilarating. Interesting, if not exhilarating, is buildable, and that will please many a person. Now, we have rail on the map. We're going to jump from the highways, because we've seen enough of the highways, of the standards of the highways, to have a look at the rail. Oh, sorry, that came from nowhere. To see the rail. And the map, while it's quite vertical, also has plenty of flatness to it, so the standards of the rail you're going to expect to be pretty reasonable as well. This one here goes straight into the start square, and it's of a reasonable standard. It comes over this way. I'm not going to say it's going to set the world alight. If you want a map that's going to set the world alight with rail, Anapu has one. or 10, but one specifically if you want one with breaking physics with the rails. Anyway, that's a different story altogether. We're talking about stevensdomi right now, who's an accomplished map creator in their own right. Now, speaking of accomplished maps, look up here. Now, you're not going to be building up here, but we've got some buildable space up here. Now, if you could get a road up here, and you wanted to do something up here, like a secret military base or something, because we have some military assets already in place, that would be a pretty neat place to have them. Getting the road up there might be a little bit hazardous, but listen, this is your challenge, not my challenge. Not my challenge. Or maybe it is my challenge because I'm the one that's just suggested it. We got little things like we got some nice rock work. I didn't mention the rocks and the assets, but you got some nice rock work there in the water. It's very pleasing. Matches very nicely with the Patagonia theme as well. So lots of credit there. And if we come over here again, you're not going to be building over here at all. There's no buildable space over here at all. But this is a very pleasing area aesthetically speaking. Southern Argentina or southern Chile seems very believable to me, and I likes it. Okay, let's do some bouncing. First of all, the essential half lighthouse. Isn't she lovely? How'd you get in there, Domi? Do you know what I really like here is the stonework around the bottom there with rocking and holding all the way around. It's like a spider lighthouse. It's different, okay? I don't approve of killing the lighthouse, but I do approve of the entire idea that's gone there. Suffocated the lighthouse. Anyway, it's everybody's favourite rock work. Look at this. Actually, have a look at this. I don't know if Domi did this on purpose. I'm assuming they did. Let's give them credit. Got the little metal supports there. I like that. They've got to have done that on purpose. That is very credible work. Thank you for sharing that. Anyway, it's everybody's favourite factory, procedural object factory. Yeah, it's a little cluster of, these procedural objects as well, because some are missing their smokestacks, yeah? Some are being a little bit reshaped a little bit. I approve. Just goes to show that a vanilla original object is quite neat, quite usable. Now, going from old and dilapidated to very modern and sleek, at the other end of this plateau, we have this. I am scratching my head. I don't know if it really works on this particular map, but it doesn't not work. And if you're going to put it anywhere, that's exactly the place to put it. I just don't know whether it really fits with. I mean, maybe I'm painting my own wrong story, or painting the story but painting it incorrectly. As we do have lots of military going on here. It's our first. This is where we took the left instead of the right. I'm sure Domi wanted us to see this because they've put some vehicles down here. And in terms of prop detailing of a military area, I believe it. As a former army brat, I know what a military area looks a bit like, and that looks a bit like a military area. So I'm completely backing that one up. Now over here we also have a couple of gun points pointing over the bridge. Now this has to be the bridge too far, doesn't it? We've even got a couple of tanks, and yeah, this is the bridge. There are other bridges, but this has to be the bridge too far. Liking the hole in the middle. I'm hoping we've got shipping to go through there. Actually, have a look. There's a little bit of a drop in the water level there. That's I'm hoping there isn't a shipping route through there. I'm hoping that's just to allow the water to go through, because there's such a flow of water through there that if you have the metal struts, it might wash them away. That's what I'm hoping stevensdomi has done there. Shipping route through there, I'm not entirely sure I would be massively excited by. I wouldn't want to be on a boat that does it. Oh, and here we've got defensive positions. Oh, that car's had it. That car's had it. The defensive positions on the other side of the... Hang on a minute. I've heard of the human caterpillar, but this is just wrong. I've heard of caterpillar tracks on a tank, but that's just a bit on the... I'm sure something hasn't loaded in correctly on this map for me, because Domi could not have done that on purpose. I say that, I can only review what loads in for me. Anyway, we have this little area here, which is very nice as well, defending this side of the bridge. That bridge, I worry for it. I think it might have bad times ahead. If the war doesn't take it out, the water will. Anyway, let's not talk about war at the moment, given the state of certain things going on. Yeah, let's not talk about war. There are people in war areas that come here to avoid war. Right, let's talk about shipping routes, okay? Because there are shipping routes. Hang on a second. Hang on. What was I doing? Getting rid of that is what I was doing here. There we go. So we have shipping routes. We have shipping triangle here, which is very neat. One dead end off to the right as it goes into the bay. Lots of tiny little shipping triangles going on here. And the shipping route does actually go through the elevated. It is a slightly fantastical map, do you think? I mean, if you can call South America fantastical. So I think we can allow for that. Maybe, possibly. We have another shipping route over here. This one might be a bit low. And there's a ship coming. I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll do this and test it. That might be just a wee bit low for vanilla shipping. Of course, there are many options if you're modding this mod. Oh, and we get very close to the procedural objects rock over here. All this white work here on our right, these are procedural objects rocks to give more definition to the rock face. And our boat route gets very close at times, so we'll do a little bit of clipping through the rocks here and there. So there's a little bit of extra polishing that can be done here and there just to bring the map up to exceptional levels, whilst it is still, of course, very good. Right, also we've got more procedural object rocks over here, but what caught my eye, as well as the quality of the rock work, I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot. Is this water spawn point right here, sucking the water in a real divot, again on a real fantastical map that I buy into as a fantasy map. I even then I'm not sure if I know it's a sponge rock. We got a spongy rock, that's what we got there, a camouflage sponge. Anyway, where were we? Oh, at the end. Okay, we've got to the end, which means it's your turn to tell me what you think. Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We use it at the end of the month for the Viewer's Choice Top 10. Will this be one of the top 10 maps of the month? Only you can decide. Hit the I button now, or the link in the description will take you to the voting page where you can vote for free, but make sure you select the correct map to vote on, because there are 2 maps in the link. What do I think of A Bridge Too Far by stevensdomi? Well, it's iconic, it's striking, it's visually very strong. There are a few little niggly bits to get me, like obviously that water spawn point. I know technically it's detail and gameplay as well, but it's the visuals are the thing that catch you with that. I can't go 5 stars. I'm going to go for a very high 4. Detailing, plenty of detailing, lots of very good detailing. 1 or 2 issues with loading in assets. I'm going to go 4 stars. I'm going to go towards the bottom end because there's more to see, I'm sure. Gameplay seems pretty playable to me. I'm going to go into 4 stars as well. I'm going to go towards the lower end of 4 stars because I feel there's just more highway work could be added to really pump up the volume. But I can't go for the BonBonB seal of approval. I'm sorry, stevensdomi, because there's just a few issues, minor issues, to deal with. Speaking of minor issues, I've got a minor issue coming up now. Here it is. Well, now that we've got that out of the way, we can get on with the second half of today's show, and a map that reminds me very much of something like Vice City in the old Grand Theft Auto days, which is high plaudits indeed for a creator who...
It's my first map.
That's right. It's pretty reasonable. It's very playable, it's going to have a lot of interest, and it has that slightly quirky thumbnail that made me think the map was going to be quirkier than it actually is. Do you want to see the thumbnail? Do you want to see the map? Well, now's your time. It's Florida Neck by Waikalua. There you go. It's an ostrich, a pink ostrich, a blushing ostrich. Because you have a lot of them in Florida, don't you? Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to provoke people to comment and tell me how stupid I am. Doesn't take much. There's your start square. Here's your terrain heights. Terrain heights, very flat area is Florida, therefore you'd expect it to be pretty flat, and we have no mountains. Though it's not entirely flat. Very neatly done, by the way. Resources are strong across the map as well. 2 back-to-back strong resource maps. And a mix of all the fishes as well. Very nicely done there too. Okay, off to the workshop. What do we need? Well, we'll be using the Bermuda theme. You will need mass transit, by the way. You will need mass transit for this one. We'll be using the Bermuda theme. There are a few things to subscribe to in roads and trees, and an abandoned gas station. And we are using the realistic 1.2 LUT today. Now, this map was originally some of Mr. Miyagi's work, inspired by the Tarpon Springs map by Mr. Miyagi, and they've reworked it, and they've turned it. I think the Tarpon Springs was a coastal, something like that, and they've given it a coast on either side, an isthmus or a neck, as some trees under the road. We've been here before. We've been here before, in fact, the last map. Yeah, for those of you that have just joined and never seen one of these shows before and wonder why there are trees showing through the road, it doesn't happen for you. We've got some nice work here, by the way. But yes, oh, and look at this vanilla cloverleaf in a little bit of a bump, and it's almost very slickly done. I'm saying almost very slickly done. It's a bit more polishing and done. Anyway, what I was saying about trees under the road, yes, I have Anarchy settings that show any trees under the road. It means that you can do tree detailing under, like, the classic is grasses under abandoned railways, and for those grasses to show through. But it also, all these trees are part of the tree count and are under those roads. If you demolish the road, those trees will reappear. And so I show them anyway, because they shouldn't be there. Frankly, they shouldn't be there. All the top creators, sorry Stevens, all the top creators will remove the trees. Occasionally they miss one or two. That's right, Stevens missed one or two. Here, this is a My First Map creator. We don't expect the highest of standards, but I'm still going to show them through. You can just imagine they're not there. They won't appear if you're just playing vanilla rules. Anyway, the bridge is here, just a little bit of a wobble there, where we go perfectly straight, and then just because the placement of the pillars, they didn't want those clashing, they've just the whole bridge on the right hand side just wobbles left and right to allow for perfect placements of the pillars, and there's just a little bit of extra work that can be done just to polish the whole thing up. But yes, it's we got a little bit of a backward highway on this end. It's not going to affect gameplay at all because traffic can get in from both directions. So if you're playing vanilla or vanilla rules and you won't access this, you will have a slight restriction on your traffic coming in or going out, I guess. There, isn't it? I feel it's going out. Anyway, let me just show you. So it's okay to that point. Is it just like one small section? Where we go, there's our little flashing thing. So it's just this small section here, not too much to put right. So you can always load this into the map editor if the creator doesn't go into the map editor and update the map themselves. That wouldn't take too much fixing in the map editor if that's something that bothers you. But like I say, in terms of gameplay, yes, it is technically a gameplay fault. But in terms of actual playability of the map, we've got plenty of outside areas as well. In fact, over there doesn't even connect to the start square. I should have led with that, shouldn't I? You will connect it to the start square because you will connect roads across the map. But this over here is a national road that's going to lead you to big old bridge. Everybody loves a big old bridge. This has been put in here so that we can access the elevated section. You know, I said Florida is very flat. This is just adding a little bit of a third dimension to Florida. And I like it. I approve of it. On this particular map, which doesn't actually truly represent Florida, it just makes the map just a little bit more interesting. Because it could have been so boring. It could have been really boring. And it's really not. There's your start square right there. That little area there. Plenty of room to build into over there as well. And as you can see, we do have outside, not an awful lot of through traffic coming down the National Road, but you don't really want a large amount of through traffic coming down that road before you start building a city now, do you? Rail, we've got rail. Yes, we've got trees under the rail, exactly the same as the trees under the road. They won't show through if you don't have Anarchy, or if you make sure your Anarchy settings are set to hide the trees under the road. But of course, the top division of map creators will always, unless you're stevensdomi, where you'll forget just the once, you'll always remove the... Sorry, Steve, I'm picking on Domi today. I'm so sorry. It's just the way I feel today. It's pick on somebody. It's normally pick on myself, and I'm very good at that. very, very good at it. Anyway, it's a really dramatic looking map. I mean, as I say, a big shout out to Mr. Miyagi for the groundbreaking work. But there's been a lot of work done to that original map, which I don't think we reviewed, which is fine. We won't be reviewing it because we are now sort of like sitting back from Mr. Miyagi. We've seen 7 million of their maps, and they've said enough. Enough is enough is enough. Show somebody else's. So I'm showing somebody else's doing yours, Miyagi, if you're watching. If you're watching. I think they've done a reasonable job of this. You know, it's very striking. It's very, it just adds different. The isthmus is wide. Many of these isthmus maps get really very tight and there's no buildable space. And there's really lots of buildable space on this map. So a big shout for that. Also liking that the sand in there. You've got the two tones of sand. It's all like wet sand, dry sand. Speaking of sand, we got some beach work along here. Just do a bit of a polish. You can actually see the cliff drop right away down to the sea floor level. So there are a few areas that we could just have it polished up. I mean, I don't mind a little bit of a cliffy edge on beaches, but I have to really buy into them being actual cliffy edges on beaches. That wasn't, I'm afraid. Right in the corner of the map, just because I spotted it and I figured it was worth showing to you, we have just a little outcrop of land over there that I think in the flattening of the terrain was missed. I think we'll just ignore that. It's not a problem. Now over here, we've got a little deserty island. I like this, okay. I don't know how many stars I would give this, though. 1, 2, 3, 5. Can't quite make up my mind. There's probably another number in there somewhere. Anyway, I quite like that. It's just a silly little thing. And I quite like this as well. This river over here, which is just wet and windy, opens up some nice sand work under there as well. Nice tree work along the sides. And just a little outlet into the ocean. And the sound work under there is believable, if not necessarily the most exciting I've ever seen. It's believable. And not every area that you look at in real life is super exciting. Here we have just like a little circular lake in there. Again, I think that just adds a little bit of interest to the map in a believable kind of way. And look, it actually feeds into the water system, which is quite nice to see. Then we have a little lake over here, like just pointing the fact that we've got a little island on the lake here, which makes this lake just a little bit more interesting. And the mangrove trees on there as well are believable to the area, so nice there. Not quite so nice as this unfinished island. You can see that we've got the sharp edges along here. And again, cliff edges, don't mind them too much, but they're very clearly unfinished, as is this area here. You can see these sweeping shapes where the island's been drawn out pretty quickly in there. We've not quite gone back and finished it, so there's maybe a little bit of extra work that can be done here and there. Now, I see a shipping route right on the edge there, so let's follow the shipping routes. See if they do anything interesting or fun. Well, they follow the coast pretty closely. I mean, not game-breakingly closely, but a little more closely than they need to be. A little bit like the last map, I guess. Only the last map we were going through procedural objects. This is, see how close that is to the coast. Does it want to be that close all the way along the coast? Possibly not. So in terms of realism be damned. Bring the ships out a little bit, please. We've got another shipping route over here. It's doing something very similar, I feel. Following the shoreline, we have a little way into the docks area. Don't mind that, that's okay. And then, yeah, I'm just like a third of a tile, maybe half a tile away from the coast is more ideal than just following the actual shape of the shore. We have some pre-built infrastructure for your water flow in the start square, and there's plenty of water dotted all the way around the map that I don't think this is a map that's going to cause you any water issues at all, unless you're stupid, like me. Oh man, it's been a long time since I've actually killed my population through for sewage. It's just like pumping it back in you, but I have done it. Have you done it yet? Have you voted on this map yet? Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count, so use it. Make sure you're voting on the right map, please. So what do I think of today's second map? Florida Neck by Waikalua. I practice that so often I still can't get it right. Waikalua. Anyway, what do I think of it? It's striking. It definitely reminds me of like a Grand Theft Auto. The overall design's pretty neat, and it just holds itself back a little bit through just experience. A couple more maps and this creator's going to be pretty fine, I think. Meanwhile, I can only go for a fairly high 3 stars. It's strong, not quite 4 stars. Same with detailing. Lots of interesting areas done to a reasonable standard, but unfortunately a few things holding it back. So again, I can't go into the 4th star, but again, I think overall there's plenty of detailing there of a decent standard, a highish 3. Gameplay potential. Now, this map does have that broken bit of highway, but I don't think it actually affects the immediate playability. I think it's a 4-star map for gameplay. Florida Deck by Waikalua. I think it's a 4-star, but it's lowish. It's lowish because it's a bit messy here and there, and there's stuff that I'd want to fix as I'm going. I'd be playing with the terrain too much to actually enjoy the actual map itself. But do you know what? I applaud it, and I applaud taking somebody else's map and just making some minor adjustments and then giving credit. Really giving credit to the original creator, and that I approve of wholly. I also approve of you for still being here and being part of the 20 and out elite. Use that word today to prove you are still part of the 20 and out elite, and I'll be back very soon with more What Map. Thanks for watching.